Can I tell you one of the things that I miss most about movie theaters? I feel like we're being really nostalgic here. Before COVID. But one of the things that I miss the most is movie trailers. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I loved going to a movie theater and watching movie trailers. I would do it on YouTube all the time just to see some of the new movies that are coming out, the new imagination and ideas. And a lot of times it's like, wow, same old stuff. Same old stuff. Oh, a reboot. Oh, a sequel. Oh, wow, that's unique. A prequel. They're kind of running out of ideas. But in the same aspect, I loved going to movie theaters. And while some people would be like, the movie starts at 10:30, we can get there by 10:45 and not miss anything because all we're doing is missing the trailers. For me, that is missing the movie experience. Anyone else feel me on that? I love movie trailers. There's always that, dramatic voice that comes in and explains just a little piece of what's going on, and then the cinematic music kicks up. And then we hear some rushing music. The voice gives us what is at threat, what the big idea of the movie is going to be, and then maybe throw in a couple of explosions or maybe some canned laughter moments. And then the title. I don't know, for me, I know a lot of cinematic movie trailers are the same, but I love watching them. What are they trying to do by showing you that little bit of information? Well, they're trying to pull you into the movie. They're trying to get you interested in it without showing you the entirety of the story. Because if they gave away the entire movie in the 2 or 3 minute trailer, well then what would be the use of going to see it? They're trying to give you information, but they're not including all the twists that the movie may have. They're not including the entire storyline. For the most part, they're just giving you a synopsis of what the movie is going to be about. They're building up the hype for you. I mean, in the same aspect, have you ever been excited about a movie just because of its trailer, and you go to the movie theater and maybe it's an action movie and you kind of sleep through the entire time? You're like, wow, that was awful. Or a comedy movie and you watch the trailer and you are just laughing up a storm, and then you go to the movie and you realize that all the funniest bits were in the trailer. The truth is, even if you go and see the movie and all the best parts were in the trailer, even if you go and see the movie and the story is boring, the trailer just gives you a bit of the story. What you find out is good or bad, whether the movie was funny or boring, there is always more to the story than what they show you in the trailers for the most part. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about something kind of like the trailers. It's a topic and a subject that I'm sure some of you guys feel like you are very familiar with. You know tons of information. And the truth is, you guys may know a lot more than I did at your age. It's a topic that we feel like we have all the answers to, or we understand the most. But it's a topic that, just like the movie trailers, there's always more to the story than what we realize. So here we go. We're going to dive in to the topic of sex. And the minute I say that, everyone goes a little bit red in the face. You get a little flushed. If you're here for the first time or watching this for the first time, maybe you've already clicked off, or you're like, why am I watching this? Why am I listening to it? I mean, talking about sex in church, who does that? I mean, that's so embarrassing. You don't talk about that stuff, except when you realize that sex is talked about, explained, sometimes given in graphic detail in the music that we listen to. Netflix puts it in just about all of their content. It's on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and pretty much all of social media. Websites. I mean, you cannot go a click or two without getting some type of thing that's advertising some type of thing that could almost be viewed as sex. I mean, on YouTube, I was just going through and I was watching different stuff, and some of the commercials are like, wait, how is this a commercial? For Aria one time, she was watching YouTube and a commercial popped on, and I was like, whoa, how is this for kids? And then we got YouTube Kids, and we still got to be careful about YouTube Kids. It's everywhere on websites. Movies use it to draw us in. Teachers talk about it in school, and we're getting younger and younger and younger, where they're teaching the younger and younger kids more and more information. It's in our jokes and in our books and in the things that we talk about and on our magazines. Sex is pretty much everywhere. I mean, I guess the one group of people that you don't really want to talk about it with is your family, because that's just, well, awkward. But the truth is, we say that it's awkward to talk about it in church, but everyone, everywhere, just about every form of entertainment, every bit of culture that we consume has it tied to it and is flaunting it. So why are we so ashamed to talk about it in church? And I know some of you guys have been in church long enough where you already think you know what I'm going to say, what I'm going to talk about. Because of that, we kind of approach the whole situation of sex and relationships, and maybe some of us, because of things that we've heard or things that we've experienced, we kind of feel like, well, God already feels certain ways about this. God hates sex, and that's the end of the story. Or God is just mad about sex, and that's the end of the story. Or God only cares about virginity, and once you lose that, he hates you. He doesn't want anything to do with you. You've failed him. And that's the end of the story. But as we're talking about, and as the title of the series is, there's always more to the story than what we realize. I mean, the truth is that God cares about sex a lot because he designed sex. He designed it. He designed those passions and those feelings and those emotions that we have within us. Those desires. And I guess that kind of brings up some questions. Maybe some of you guys have had these questions before. Is it that bad that I'm thinking about it? Is it bad if I want to do it? Some of you guys are already trying to find those little loopholes, and you're like, okay, so can I do everything but the actual deed? What am I allowed to do? I know people who have done stuff and they haven't died, so I guess it's not that bad. Or maybe you're like, I have done stuff. I've kind of messed up. So does that mean I'm doomed forever? Like God hates me? Or for some of you guys, your story is a little bit deeper and you're like, but what if it wasn't my choice? What if things were done that were wrong? Can I ever come back for that? What am I supposed to do now? Or maybe you were like me in my boat when I was a young teenager and I was like, I can't even get the girls to look at me, so I don't need to worry about this right now. It's kind of sad. But it is a loaded topic. But just because it's a loaded and sometimes awkward topic doesn't mean it's something that we should avoid. The truth is you are going to get this information somewhere. So why not the church? It's an important one. And so today we're going to look at a piece in the Bible written by Paul. Paul wrote most of the New Testament. And in this, it comes from the book of Corinthians, and he's writing to the church in Corinth. Now, to give you an idea, just a background of what this city is that he is writing to, what they're kind of like, they kind of have a saying that's along the modern equivalent of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Kind of like what happens in Corinth stays in Corinth. Literally, there is a line from the times of the Corinthians and in the town of Corinth, and the people of Rome would say this, that not every man can go to Corinth. And I know some of you guys are like, that's not as flashy. But in essence, what they're saying there is not everyone can afford to or have the time to go to Corinth. So if you do, live it up. Whatever you can spend your money on, whatever you want to experience, whatever you want to try, whatever you're thinking about, do it while you can there. Live it up. It was the party capital. It was filled with prostitution and all sorts of other things. We won't go into detail there. Corinth was known all over. In fact, all over in the regions of Rome and stuff, they would be like, oh, Corinth. Sometimes Corinth almost went over the line. And this is who Paul is writing the letter to, a church that is in that town. And in this letter, they are dealing with lots of stuff being in a party city. And he hits a wide range of stuff. But the thing I want to focus on comes from 1 Corinthians 6:12, and he says this, I have the right to do anything. There we go. End of story. Amen. I'll pray for you. I mean, isn't that what we've always wanted to hear? God kind of be like, okay, I sign off on this. Whatever you want to do, it's a free pass. Paul's like, I can do whatever I want to do. Again, kind of like the modern equivalent of I do what I want. And that's great. That's what we want to hear. We want to be able to do whatever we want. We don't want shackles. We don't want to lose our freedom. But there's actually more to the story. I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything. In essence, what he's saying in this verse is, you have the right to do anything you want. You do. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. Now, I have every right in the world to do whatever I want. I can go steal from someone. Doesn't really mean I should. I can go punch someone in the face. Doesn't mean I should. Doesn't mean it'll hurt them either. I can do whatever I want. Even positive things. I can go and eat as much food as I want. It doesn't mean that I necessarily should. I can go stick my hand into a flame. It doesn't mean I should. Just because we have the freedom for those things, Paul is saying, it doesn't mean that you should do them. Now, let me ask you this. Wouldn't life be a lot less stressful and so much easier for you guys if we kind of took that point of view that Paul was saying and applied it to our life? Instead of saying, well, can I do it? Or how can I do it and not get caught? Because I know we've all been there. What if instead of asking that, we instead asked, is this good for me? Should I be doing this? Is this the best thing to do in my life? See, that's a sign of maturity. And so I challenge you for the first thing is to start looking at life through that lens, whether it comes to life in general or relationships or sex, start looking at it through this lens. Just because I can doesn't mean I should. So look at the things and say, not, can I do it, but should I do this? Is this going to benefit me in the long term? But there's more to the story. Whether it's what we consume in relationships, what we consume on our screens, our computers, our phones, because we all know we're just a tap away from looking at stuff that we shouldn't look at. The truth is, in relationships and friendships, online, what we are doing doesn't just affect us. There is someone, for the most part, that is also there being affected as well. There is someone else that is involved, whether it's a person you're dating or your friends or those people that you're viewing online. Someone else is always involved. And with that in mind, Jesus gave us this command in Matthew 22:39b. They ask him, hey, Rabbi, what is the greatest commandment? You got the 10 commandments. Can you just buckle it down to what is the number one greatest commandment? And he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. But the second is just like it, basically on equal ground. And on equal ground to love God is to love your neighbor as yourself. And if we really break it down, it's not talking about the neighbor that is living next to you. The neighbor that he's talking about is anyone that you come in contact with is your neighbor. And you're supposed to love and care for them as much as you love and care for yourself. What if we start viewing when it comes to relationships, when it comes to friendships, when it comes to what we're viewing? What if we start looking at it through the lens of, Is it not just, is this best for me, but is this best for we? See, something may feel good in the moment, but what effect is this going to have on their life? What effect is this going to have on their future? I mean, some of you guys might be like, okay, I weighed it out and I am good with it. I'm going to do what I want. But what about them? I mean, let's be honest. Feelings aside and pretending like, you're the toughest person or you're the smartest, the most cunning person, don't you really want a relationship where your boyfriend or girlfriend cares about you as much as you care about yourself? Don't you want a relationship where that person that you are with deeply cares about your health and your well-being? They care about you, where you know that they have your back, where you know that you trust them enough that they have your back, that they're going to stand out for you, that they're going to look out for the best for you. I mean, honestly, I don't want a relationship with someone that I feel like is just going to stab me in the back over and over and over again. I want to be with a person, and that's why, with Melissa, everything about her is amazing and beautiful and everything like that, but I also know that she has my back. I trust her because she cares about my well-being as much as she cares for her, and that's what we should be looking for in relationships. So shouldn't we do the same? If we want them to watch out for our backs, to look out for our best interest, shouldn't we look out for their best interest? Shouldn't we care about them in the same way? That they would know that you would never do anything to hurt or harm them, to leave lasting scars on them or in their life. What does integrity mean to you? I challenge you when it comes to your relationships to have integrity in your relationships. I know that sounds like a bigger word or whatever. And I know some of you guys immediately go, well, that means saving ourselves for marriage, which, yes, but it's more than that. And it's more than just, it's not so much about making you feel guilty over the times that you didn't wait. But integrity is who you are when no one else is around. You say what you say and you do what you do. You are an honest and a good person to the best of your ability. You don't wear two masks. You live the same way you talk about, behind closed doors and in front of people. I challenge us to be people of integrity when it comes to our relationships. And that means being honest, trustworthy, honoring God and others, and how you treat them, whether you're dating them or just friends. And see, the good news is that can happen at any point. Whether we feel like we've gone too far in relationships, or whether we're just starting out in relationships, or maybe you're not even ready for a relationship. And that's fine. But you can choose to be people of integrity in your relationships and choose to say, I'm going to honor God. I'm going to honor them. I'm going to be honest, trustworthy, and caring. I'm going to care about those things. I'm going to care about their future. You can make that decision now. You can start making those choices and those changes now. To do that, I challenge you with two really quick things. One is talk to God about who you really want to be. Now this is away from others, because I know sometimes we can wear this mask. We can try to pretend like we're someone around our friends, and so the idea of talking to God about who I really want to be, I want to be the toughest, meanest, baddest person. But then when I talk to God, it might be like, God, I want to be a good dad. I want my girls to grow up loving God and loving their family, knowing that their mom and dad care about them so deeply, knowing that their dad has done everything he can to help raise them. That's something I wouldn't brag about to friends. And that's why I say, talk to God on your own about who you really want to be. Be honest with him. I know at first it can be awkward. Even if you're new to church and this whole experience of God, I challenge you, give it a try. What else do you have to lose? Because I know one thing, I know that God is real. I know that he's done stuff in my life and others' lives. So I know if you give it a try and you start sharing with God, this is the person that I want to be, he's going to help bring you to that point. And then the harder thing, talk to someone you trust. Share with them who you want to be. Now, here at church, we've got me. I love getting together and talking with teens and just, even one-on-one, just meeting with them and talking about some of the things that you're going through. I don't hold grudges against you. I don't attack you or berate you. I love to hear your stories. I love to help you through situations that you are going through. Maybe it's a small group leader. I've had teens throughout my life that shared stuff. I've had teens that have talked about alcohol issues and drug issues and sex issues and all of that kind of stuff, family issues. And it's one of those things that when they share it with me, I don't berate them or attack them for it. In fact, I'm actually overjoyed, because when you start sharing with someone that you trust, it starts the healing process. It starts you on this road to becoming that person that you created to be. So I challenge you to find those people that you trust and talk to them about it, because the more willing you are to share and the more open you are to share, the more it helps us focus on being that person of integrity. I get that this topic is hard, it's awkward, and some have extra feelings about this or a past that we bring into it. But the most important thing I want to leave you with before we break today is this. No matter what you've been through, God does not hate you. And God is not angry with you. God wants the best for you. And he cares about you the most. Would you pray with me? Father God, I thank you for each and every teen here and those within the sound of my voice. And I pray that you would help us as we start down this road of dealing with relationships and all that kind of stuff. I pray that you would help us to be people of integrity with our friends, with our family, and for those that we have relationships with. Father, I pray that it wouldn't just be about me, but we would look at, is this going to be the most beneficial thing for me? Is this something that I should do? And then we would also look at those others we're in a relationship with and say, is this really going to be best for them? I care about them and I want them to grow and to be the best that they can be. So God, I pray that you would help us to be those people of integrity that you have called and created us to be. In your name, amen. All right, guys, as always, love you, miss you. Can't wait to see you soon, whether online or in person, Sundays and Wednesdays.